Hi, friends. As many of you know, my dad passed away early on Sunday morning, and it's been a really tough week for me, for my family. And I want to thank you so much for all of your prayers and kind thoughts and words and emails and texts and cards. Your expressions of love and support have been such an encouragement and a help in this time. Well, today I want to share with you a verse that has been so important to me in times when I've faced death, and it's one that I have directed a lot of other people to. It's 1 Thessalonians 4:13. In it, the Apostle Paul says this. He says, "Brothers and sisters, we do not want you to be uninformed about those who sleep in death, so that you do not grieve like the rest of mankind who have no hope." In this verse, Paul says two incredibly important things. And the first thing is that he reminds us that as believers, we have hope in the face of death. Because not only did Jesus die for our sins, he rose again and opened the way to heaven so that we could have life there forever with God. We have an incredible hope. My dad was a believer and he was ready to go and be with Jesus. So we have hope. We know where he is now. He's with Jesus in a far better place. But the second thing I want you to notice that Paul also says here is that even though we have hope, we still grieve. We still mourn. Why? Because it's natural. Because we're human. When we lose people we love, it's painful. And even though we have faith, and even though we may know that they're with God, it doesn't mean that we're not going to miss them terribly. We are. And I think it's worth remembering that Jesus cried when his friend Lazarus died. Jesus cried when a friend died. Certainly we can too. Sometimes well-meaning Christians forget these things, these truths, and they say things to us like, "Don't be sad. He's in heaven. Don't be sad. She's with Jesus. She's in a better place." Well, those things are just not right. Having faith doesn't mean that we're not going to be sad. Having faith doesn't mean that we're not going to grieve. It doesn't mean that it's not going to hurt. All of those things are things that we will experience, and it's okay. But having faith does mean that we don't grieve, that we don't mourn without hope, because we know that God has a plan that is even bigger than our grief, our mourning, and our hurt. That God has a plan for life beyond this life. So may we always cling to the hope that we have in Jesus, especially when life gets hard and even when we face death, so that we do not mourn without hope.